we have been treating artificial intelligence like a magic vending machine. You type wish, and a generic answer just falls out. But as of April 2026, the elite users are doing something entirely different. They are using AI as a mirror. Beat.
Right. It fundamentally changes our entire relationship with the technology. The era of just casually chatting with an AI is over.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are exploring a profound shift in human productivity.
It is massive.
We are unpacking Max Ann's definitive April 2026 guide. The core thesis focuses on turning Claude into a high-leverage workforce. We are moving from simple text generation to deep, persistent work cycles.
This represents a complete paradigm shift, for anyone doing serious knowledge work. It moves us away from treating AI as a toy.
We are going to map out this entire evolution for you today. We will start with a strategic audit of your personal life. Then we will tackle your morning intelligence gathering. From there, we move into daily execution and gamifying your habits.
Which is huge for actual follow-through.
Exactly. We will also explore how to brutally filter your content ideas. Finally, we will look at customizing client proposals and building an overarching data architecture.
The practical applications here are just incredibly dense. I mean, we are talking about reclaiming hours of lost time every single day.
Before we look at the specific frameworks, we need to establish the new baseline. The way we use this technology even 6 months ago is dead.
Totally dead.
We are now talking about deploying autonomous frameworks.
Right. And for those newer to this, autonomous frameworks are multi-step instructions, letting AI work independently without constant nudging.
Yeah.
You are no longer writing a new prompt for every tiny task.
You are building a system instead. You construct multi-phase prompts that govern the AI's behavior over time. But to understand why this matters, we really have to look at the old bottleneck.
Oh, the goldfish problem.
Yes, the guide calls it the goldfish problem.
Anyone who uses AI knows the goldfish problem intimately. You spend 20 minutes meticulously explaining your business context to an AI. It gives you one phenomenal, highly targeted answer.
Yeah.
You feel a breakthrough. Then, 3 messages later, it completely forgets who you are.
It just resets to its factory settings. It is like using a supercomputer as
a disposable typewriter. Exactly.
Yeah.
You are forced to start from scratch every single time you open a window.
But the 2026 Power Move solves this through persistent memory.
You start saving your complex instructions inside Claude projects. A project isn't just a folder for your files. It actually partitions a dedicated layer of the AI's context window.
You permanently inject your brand DNA into that specific workspace. It always knows your 90-day goals. It permanently remembers your past performance metrics.
The AI constantly references those foundational rules before generating any new reply. It stops relying on the generic slop of its training data.
This directly connects to another critical technical update from early 2026. Claude 3.5 and 4.0 fully integrated something called sequential processing.
Right, and sequential processing basically means the AI handles multi-phase conversations without drifting from the goal.
In the past, giving an AI a 6-step workflow was a disaster. It would panic. It would try to process all 6 steps simultaneously.
Oh, it was a mess.
Yeah.
It would inevitably hallucinate or skip crucial details.
But now it paces its own reasoning.
It acts much more like a senior analyst. It finishes step 1, verifies the output, and then seamlessly transitions to step 2.
I have to admit something here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. Beat. It is incredibly frustrating when it forgets the core goal halfway through a project.
We all experience that frustration.
Yeah.
That is exactly why high-level users stopped using massive mega prompts in standard chat windows.
Right.
You build a foundation once in a project, and it stays solid. You can even combine this with tools like the Gemini side panel or Claude Dev.
Just to clarify, those are the tools that browse the live web while you chat, right?
Exactly. They act like relentless research interns. They scrape live market data directly into your established project context.
So does saving it as a project actually stop the AI from forgetting?
Yes. The partitioned memory locks your instructions in place. It physically prevents the system from overriding your core business rules.
So projects act like permanent memory banks for the AI.
They establish an unbreakable foundation for every future interaction.
So we understand the foundational mechanics now. Let's look at the most intimate application of this technology. We're pointing this analytical machine directly at our own lives.
This shifts the AI from a business tool to a personal advisor.
Many of us use journaling to figure out our life trajectory, But journaling inherently goes in circles because you are both the speaker and the listener.
Yeah, you rarely surprise yourself when you write in a journal. You tend to just reinforce the narratives you already believe about yourself.
Max's framework introduces the Strategic Life Audit. It turns Claude into a structured, highly objective advisor.
And the process operates across 3 distinct phases.
The first phase is called deep discovery. The AI does not ask you a massive list of questions all at once.
No, it asks you one highly targeted question at a time. It probes your actual goals. It audits your energy levels. It asks where your hours are actually being spent.
It dynamically builds on your previous answers. Each sequential question forces you to dig slightly deeper into your own motivations.
Then we arrive at phase 2. The source material refers to this as the mirror effect.
This is arguably the most fascinating mechanism of the entire system. The AI functions as a ruthless feedback loop.
Claude starts pointing out your glaring contradictions.
Right.
For example, you tell it your primary goal is financial freedom, but your time logs show you working 60 hours a week on a project you actively plan to quit.
It bypasses human cognitive bias entirely. An LLM lacks the social programming that makes humans polite. It simply maps vector A against vector B.
When it finds a mathematical anomaly between your stated goals and your logged hours, it highlights it.
Humans call that anomaly hypocrisy.
Wow, yeah. It uses pure machine logic to challenge your shallow justifications.
Phase 3 is the strategic analysis. Claude delivers what the framework calls your uncomfortable truth.
It provides a trajectory diagnosis for the next 1 to 3 years based on your current habits.
It also outlines your top 3 leverage opportunities and hands you a concrete 90-day execution plan.
It's intense.
I have to push back on this concept a bit. The psychological weight of this process sounds genuinely heavy. Beat. Having a machine point out our life hypocrisy sounds like having a ruthlessly honest therapist with zero social filter.
Yeah, it really does.
Isn't the uncomfortable truth phase a bit brutal to experience?
It is undeniably heavy. But consider the alternatives. Your friends avoid uncomfortable honesty because they want to protect your feelings.
Sure.
Professional coaches are incredibly expensive, and they still carry inherent human biases. The lack of emotional intelligence is the ultimate feature here.
Brutal, but necessary to bypass our own stubborn blind spots.
It catalyzes honest decision-making faster than any human conversation ever could.
So we have our macro life trajectory audited and corrected. Now we have to zoom in on the micro. We need to fix how your morning actually starts.
Because the inputs you consume in the first hour basically dictate the momentum of your entire day.
Most people start their morning with aimless app jumping. They doom scroll through social media, absorbing whatever algorithms throw at them.
You are starting your day by absorbing pure, uncurated chaos.
The next framework replaces that chaos with profound, intentional direction. It is called the Morning Intelligence Brief.
It effectively filters the overwhelming noise of the modern internet.
You define a strict set of parameters for Claude. You outline exactly what matters to your specific industry or personal interests.
You might track emerging market trends, new AI models, or specific competitor movements. Claude pulls this data and organizes it into highly rigid sections.
You receive a clean executive summary. You get a list of key market movers. You get one deep dive topic to expand your thinking.
You also get a curated list of potential risks or events to watch that day. And you can even wire this entirely through automation platforms in the background.
You connect it using tools like NAN or Zapier.
Right, these are basically invisible plumbing systems that link your apps together.
It delivers this brief automatically to your email or a private Slack channel. It is like having a dedicated chief of staff sliding a perfectly curated folder across your desk at 7:00 a.m. sharp.
That analogy perfectly captures the leverage here. You no longer hunt for the news. The exact intelligence you need finds you.
Can it really filter out the noise without missing the important stuff?
The mechanism relies entirely on the precision of your instructions. If your prompt clearly defines your strategic boundaries, the AI acts as a flawless sieve.
Right, you dictate the strict focus up front, and it filters the rest.
The output is only ever as good as your initial boundaries.
So the morning intelligence is digested. You know what the world is doing. But none of that matters if you fail to execute.
Execution is where the vast majority of ambitious plans just fall apart.
We get overwhelmed by the sheer volume of our ambitions. Max's framework solves this friction by gamifying your daily execution.
Traditional productivity systems break down because they feel too heavy. They demand absolute perfection.
When we inevitably fail to be perfect, we tend to abandon the entire system. The Gamified Habit Tracker specifically lowers the psychological pressure.
You select 5 to 10 anchor habits. These are the fundamental actions that keep your life moving forward.
Anchor habits ensure a day remains productive even when absolute chaos hits your schedule. You divide these habits into 2 distinct categories.
You have your core tasks and your bonus tasks. Core tasks are your non-negotiables. They carry significantly higher point value.
Bonus tasks are essentially locked until the core tasks are finished. They add a sense of progress without adding any initial pressure.
And tracking these numerical patterns over time reveals your actual behavioral trends.
You stop vaguely blaming a lack of motivation. You start adjusting your environment based on hard historical data. You can even integrate mood tracking into this exact same daily prompt.
It is super effective.
I need to pause and challenge this approach. If my goal is to build a massive, serious business, doesn't assigning 10 points to clearing my inbox feel a bit juvenile?
I can see that.
It feels like treating professionals like toddlers earning gold stars. Does point scoring actually change human behavior long term?
I completely understand why it sounds trivial. But we have to look at how dopamine circuits function during high-stress periods. When you are overwhelmed, your brain craves small, achievable wins.
So the gamification creates a synthetic sense of momentum.
Exactly. Behavioral psychology shows that removing the sting of failure keeps people engaged. If you miss a task, you just missed a few arbitrary points. You didn't ruin your life trajectory.
It shifts the psychological focus from perfection to simply maintaining momentum.
It proves that steady, imperfect progress always beats sporadic bursts of perfection.
Mid-roll sponsor read.
And we are back.
Our personal habits are finally tracking well. We are executing daily. Now, we turn our attention outward toward our actual creative output.
This is where we start scaling your specific expertise into the public sphere.
We are looking at the Content Idea Evaluator framework. Creators and businesses usually face a very specific problem here. The issue isn't a lack of ideas.
Not at all. The real danger is having far too many mediocre ideas.
You waste valuable time executing concepts that fundamentally do not resonate. Without a strict filter, you can spend 10 hours writing an article that completely flops.
Generation is incredibly cheap now. Editing and filtering have become the true bottlenecks.
This framework fixes that exact bottleneck. You spin up a brand new Claude project, you load this partition with your exhaustive brand context.
You define your specific tone of voice. You define your target audience demographics. You upload data showing what previously succeeded and what historically failed.
Once that context is locked, you feed in a raw idea. It might be a messy Reddit thread, a quick voice memo, or an unpolished transcript.
Claude then acts as a direct, almost hostile editor.
It instantly judges the conceptual fit. It suggests sharper, more contrarian angles. It tests the psychological clickability of various titles.
It acts like a ruthless bouncer at an exclusive club for your ideas.
You hand it 100 concepts, and it looks at your brand guidelines and says, nope, not tonight. Only the genuinely exceptional ideas get past the velvet rope.
It actively saves you from your own fleeting enthusiasm. We often fall in love with concepts that make zero strategic sense for our audience.
Whoa. Imagine scaling that to 100 raw ideas in a matter of seconds. That's incredible.
It basically gives a single creator the editorial oversight of a massive media organization.
So it's actually more about killing bad ideas than writing good ones.
Yes. The mechanism proves that turning an AI into a strict editorial filter is vastly more valuable than using it as an endless text generator.
Strong filtering actually improves your end results far more than simply generating more content.
Quality will always compound faster than sheer volume.
So your highly filtered content is finally out there. It is generating real leads. Now you arrive at the most crucial bottleneck in any business operation. You have to actually close the deal.
Deals almost always lose their momentum at the proposal stage.
That transition between a great sales call and delivering the written proposal is where the friction lives. Writing customized proposals manually is mentally exhausting.
But if you just send out generic templates, sophisticated clients spot them instantly. When a client sees a generic template, their trust drops to zero.
They want definitive proof that you actually listen to their specific problems. The Proposal Auto Customizer framework handles this brilliantly.
You feed your standard master template into Claude.
But you pair that template directly with your raw meeting notes. You take the automated transcripts from your meeting software, tools like Fireflies or Otter that sit quietly in your video calls.
You feed that exact dialogue into the AI. Claude then fundamentally restructures your proposal template.
It modifies the language to reflect the client's actual stated priorities.
It addresses their specific objections raised on the call. It outlines the exact scope you discussed, requiring nearly zero manual rewriting.
It produces a highly technical document that reads as if you spent 3 hours crafting it.
Yeah.
I have a genuine question about the human element here. Won't clients immediately realize an AI wrote their customized proposal? Doesn't this feel slightly deceptive?
That is a very valid concern, but look at the actual inputs. You are not asking the AI to invent a sales pitch.
Right.
You are feeding it the client's literal spoken dialogue from your actual human conversation. The machine is just synthesizing the reality of the interaction you already had.
Because it utilizes their exact words, it feels highly personalized and deeply human.
You're simply reflecting their own reality back to them with perfect clarity.
We have spent a lot of time looking at specific isolated workflows today. We looked at life audits, daily habits, and client proposals. But the true power of 2026 era AI requires a much wider lens.
We have to understand how to synthesize these isolated tools into a broader architecture.
This brings us to the ultimate concept in the guide, the second brain architecture.
This overarching system is where individual leverage transforms into true operational scale.
The goal is to connect your scattered, chaotic data sources, your private messages, calendar invites, invoice histories, and content pipelines.
You funnel them all into one unified AI-supported system.
When your operational data lives in 10 separate applications, you bleed time. You constantly search for context. You manually compare spreadsheets.
A second brain reduces all of that cognitive friction. But Max provides a massive, crucial warning here. You must not connect everything at once.
Attempting to wire everything together simultaneously is a recipe for total systemic collapse.
You must start incredibly light. You choose one single data input. For example, your daily meeting notes. Then you choose one single output, maybe a simple weekly planning document.
You establish a simple, functioning foundation before adding any complexity. The LLM requires structured context to organize chaos. It's like stacking Lego blocks of data. You have to start by clicking 2 blocks together before you try to build the whole castle.
Right, and if you dump all thousands of blocks onto the floor at once, the AI just gets confused.
Why not just plug all your apps in at once and let it run?
Because feeding an AI 10 chaotic data streams simultaneously overloads its context window. It will begin producing messy, contradictory insights that waste your time. You only expand into complex financial tracking once that first basic workflow is absolutely bulletproof.
Starting incredibly small prevents the whole system from becoming an overwhelming, useless mess.
You have to earn your complexity by proving the basic workflows first.
Let's pull all of these disparate threads together. The core thesis across every single one of these frameworks is profound. The structural pattern behind every good prompt is completely universal.
It is a highly repeatable formula, regardless of the task at hand.
First, you give the AI a definitive, constrained role. Second, you explicitly define the exact output structure you expect. Third, you provide rich, contextual background data.
Fourth, you review the output.
Finally, you reuse the persistent framework.
Mastering that specific sequence of instructions is the entire secret to modern productivity.
Claude didn't suddenly become vastly more useful just because the underlying neural network got smarter. It became a powerhouse because our instructions became highly intentional.
The output of the tool is strictly limited by the clarity of the user.
The hierarchy of success is incredibly clear now. Deep clarity comes first. Providing strong contextual inputs comes second. Faster execution is a distant third.
Stop chasing raw speed. Spend your time chasing absolute clarity of thought.
Before we wrap up today, we have a specific challenge for you. Look at your own daily workflow. Identify just one single friction point that slows you down.
Build a dedicated prompt to solve it, and simply observe the results.
Prove the concept to yourself on a micro scale. It will completely alter how you approach your daily work. We will leave you with this final thought. 2-sec silence. If artificial intelligence is no longer just a digital toy, but a perfect mirror for our habits, our decisions, and our flaws, what happens to us when we finally run out of excuses for why we aren't achieving our goals?
Beat.
That is the real uncomfortable truth we all have to face. Thank you for exploring this with us. We will see you on the next deep dive.